And just like that, we're back. Views from Section 400. Matt, Jack, Brian will take you along for the ride here for some uninterrupted sports conversation in the Views from Section 400 podcast. So welcome everybody back who has watched. Welcome any newcomers. We always welcome the new fans. All are welcome here. No hate. We just love to hear what you got to say about the sports world. Maybe a little hate if you piss me off. No, I'm just kidding. Today is February 22nd. You guys are watching this, and we'll jump right into it. The NBA All-Star Game is dead. I hated it. Brian hated it. I'm pretty sure Jack hated it. A lot of the top analysts around the world hated it. So, guys, let's just jump right into it here, right? I mean, the NBA All-Star Game, that was a complete joke. The All-Star Weekend was a complete joke. And they really put the final circus act together on Sunday night with that piss-poor joke of a performance, show, whatever you want to call it. It was an absolute joke. I don't know who wants to dive into it first, but whoever's pissed off about it more, I guess, jump right into it because that was an absolute travesty to the product of the NBA.
No, Brian's definitely a little bit more pissed off than I am about it. So you go for it. Start us up, Brian.
All right. Well, I was gonna let you take your flowers because at least you did say Damian Lillard and his team would win and he would go off, and that's exactly what happened. So props to you for doing that. But yeah, this game was absolutely atrocious. And then the players had the audacity to say they want to get paid for it after the fact in the future. So that's just ridiculous. But you know, I've been sitting here trying to figure out how to fix the game. And I am interested to see if you guys have any ideas on what they can do in the future. I got a few I want to rattle by you and see if you like them. So I will say I got this idea. I watched a TikTok from Bill Simmons, and that guy is just losing his mind by the day. But he said to get rid of the 3-point shot. And that just is, I think, the dumbest idea I've heard in years.
What will that do? What will that accomplish? What is that? What do we gain from that?
He said people won't just be pulling up from three, but I think they still will be and just not care that it's worth an extra
But
point.
it's not even a three thing. These guys are chucking up half court shots.
Yep.
So they're still going to do that.
Yeah, it's the worst.
What the hell are you talking about, Bill Simmons? That guy is a total clown.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's a joke. I mean, seeing Damian Lillard chuck it up from half court and watching it go in is what people care about, not the fact that it's worth 2 versus 3 points. It's not going to stop him from doing it. It gets the crowd more hyped than anything else that they did All-Star Weekend. So, yeah, it's not going to change.
I also saw Barstool Big Cat said the losing team should have to nominate a player to die, like just murdered. So that's another interesting. I mean, they would try.
Hold on. Let's work that out real quick. What was that?
The losing team would have to nominate a player to die after the game.
To die?
Yep.
Yeah, you want to know what's good? If I'm
fucking high when he said that?
Definitely, dude. It's Barstool. Come on. But look, if I'm like a fringe All-Star player, I'm not going to the NBA All-Star game. If that is on the table, I would much rather just stay at home and not tune in.
Yeah, you might not see anybody except their invites. But kind of looking at those two sides, completely different sides of the coin there. I have 5 ideas that I think could help out the All-Star game. So my first one is the losing team must leak their DMs on Twitter and Instagram for 24 hours. No NBA player will want to do that. They're going to be trying their ass off. Okay. Number 2, losing team's player, all the players on the losing team must commute by Spirit Airlines for the amount of days as points they lose by. Can't fly with the team. They got to fly their own planes to each game on Spirit Airlines.
It's a good idea, but it will create an absolute, I guess, logistical nightmare. Trying to get guys to and from games.
It'd be tough to enforce too.
Yeah, it would affect the whole league, right? I mean, planes are getting delayed, flights delayed. You have some of these higher caliber guys. Right there. Yeah, some of these higher caliber guys out there. I mean, shit. People on Spirit Airlines, I mean, not to like rag on them, but usually aren't the wealthiest people flying on the airline. So if you see a pretty primetime player on there, could create some player safety issues for sure.
The leg room on there might create some player safety
issues.
The
leg room, if you have a player who plays for the Celtics trying to fly out of New York and you have a bunch of fucking rough and rowdy New York fans on there, don't think Jason Tatum would be very safe on that flight. not a great idea.
Yeah, okay, but these next three are kind of doable in terms of like I could see them happening. So
Let's hear 'em.
this one I took from Miracle, the great movie. The losing team must compete in a dunk contest right after the game. The highest score of each round is free. So whoever gets the lowest score just has to keep on going
So when does it end?
until there's one guy left. And he just
So
loses.
are you trying to fix the dunk contest with the All-Star game?
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna have to try to dunk after the
Two
All-Star.
birds, one stone. I like it. Not terrible.
It's not a bad idea, but again, it's just like nobody's gonna do that. Guys already don't do the All-Star or don't do the dunk contest.
Yeah, true. Okay.
So
Well, here's a feasible one. The losing
again,
team.
I'm not trying to shoot all your ideas down here. I'm just trying to think of how we can reasonably fix this game. Clearly, there isn't a clear-cut answer because these players opt out all over the place. But
Well,
Yeah, well,
up to this point, Brian's just fed us a load of bullshit.
but
So,
these next two
got any real solutions?
these next two are very feasible. Okay, the losing team
said that on the
forfeits
last one.
the losing team forfeits their game check to charity. So fuck like the winning team gives money to charity. Just whoever loses the game doesn't get paid for the weekend, doesn't get paid for like however many games, I don't know. Forfeit a half season's check to charity.
Nah, but like, didn't you say the players want to get paid for this game? So were they not already get, or they get paid for the weekend, or they get paid for making the
They get
All-Star
paid
game?
for making the All-Star game. They don't get paid for playing in the All-Star game.
Right. So yeah, I actually don't hate that idea at all. You say here, and maybe up the ante as well, right? Like, I don't know what the figure is that they get for making it, but say, hey, each individual player gets this amount of money. If you lose, you don't get it. I
Yeah.
love that idea. Love that
Yeah.
idea.
So that's
It's
probably
not-
that's probably my best one. And then this is another one that's kind of out there, but it'd be pretty cool. So the losing team must go overseas and play the EuroLeague All-Stars. If they lose, they continue to China to play the CBA All-Stars. If they lose that, they go to Australia to play the NBL All-Stars.
I like the other one better.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
That's just too much.
all these EuroLeague fans are saying they're better than the NBA, so let's get a bunch of pissed off All-Stars that have to travel to Turkey and show them who's really the best at basketball,
I mean, that's what the World Cup is for, right?
I guess.
Yeah. The not getting paid for the All-Star weekend of the loser team is, I think that's your best bet right there. And you up the ante in the process as well, and whatever it is, double it and say the winning team gets this, losers get nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm with that. I mean, it's all about money, right? It always comes back to it, and whether you want to take these guys money away or give them more if they do win, with incentives, maybe to win the All-Star game and actually try. Something would work if you put some financial incentives on the line. I mean, otherwise, some of these guys they just shouldn't show up. Honestly, I mean, Damian Lillard. Cat, Halliburton, they went off 30 points apiece. Cat had 50, low key 50 points in the All-Star game. But other than those guys, no one else really seemed like they wanted to be there. There's LeBron, Jokic, and Luka just hanging out, chilling, fucking around with each other. So these guys are the All-Stars. They're the face of the league. They should be there, but it would be nice to see them try.
It was a social hour.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Jokic and Luka had no business being there. They didn't want any part of it.
Look, I'm still I think we should go back to what the MLB had going for them with the All-Star game, where the winner they get home court advantage in the playoffs or in the finals. I think that gave MLB a reason to try, and I think that NBA could employ that. It's a little different, for things like the NFL, where you're gonna go have your Super Bowl in a predetermined location like 4 years before. But in the MLB and the NBA, where both teams are getting some home games and away games, put it on the All-Star game. Why not? If you've got the best players in each conference playing in that game, there's definitely people with playoff and finals aspirations playing in the All-Star game, like a Jason Tatum. It would give him incentive to go the fuck off.
Yeah, no, I think you may have just figured out the whole thing. I don't think it'll ever happen, but mix it between the Pro Bowl games and the old MLB All-Star game, where you give them points for each event. So like the winner of the dunk contest gets points, the winner of the 3-point contest gets points, and then the winner of the game gets points. and the winning conference hosts the All-Star game. That's how you get everybody to try in every event. They'll never agree to it, but that'd be pretty electric.
Damn.
There will be no agreements there.
There wouldn't be, because the way they do their scoring and adding that shit up, it's so arbitrary. And when you're actually putting something on the line, like who's going to host that game 7, you can't really make it arbitrary at that point. You need a set system, and I don't think they'll ever come to a conclusion on that. But they're making it about entertainment and not quality, which sucks because these are the best players in the NBA all in the same court at the same time. They should be doing some crazy shit. And Dame shooting from 50 feet away is awesome. Seeing some of the dunks that these guys make in open space is awesome. But I'm a basketball fan. To see these guys battling, to see Wemby going up against like Rudy Gobert or some shit down low, that's fun to me. Seeing Steph and Dame guard each other, that's fun to me. I would love to see that, and them at their peak, trying their hardest.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll ever get back to that, but maybe if there's another Michael Jordan that comes along. But until then, no.
I guess, we'll see when the next MJ comes. But speaking of the Michael, why don't we jump into the Michael of the Week? Something we do here every week at Views from Section 400. The Michael of the Week this week, presented by our bracketology. Everyone's got to head over to viewsfromsection400.com. Check out our bracketology. Brian and I have been dialing it up. We're getting closer and closer to March Madness. We want to make sure everybody is well prepared when they fill out those brackets. You can say you don't care. I know when the bracketology starts, when March Madness starts, you will be filling out a bracket, whether if it's office bracket, with your family, your friends. Everyone does it. Whether you know college basketball or you don't know anything about it, you're going to go fill out a bracket. You're going to pick the teams that you think are going to win, or you're just going to pick them because you like the color. You like the way they're named. You like the mascot. I know every bracket I do every year, there's always some idiot who has the 15 seed winning it all. And it's usually a girl. No hate on girls, but it's usually somebody's girlfriend who got entered into the group and has the 15 seed going all. But that's the fun of it, right? But why not be a little more prepared and give yourself a shot? Head over to Views from Section 400. Check out the bracketology Brian and I have been dialing up. I think we're pretty on par with what's going to turn out and how it's going to look. So get your good advice over there. And the Michael of the Week this week, like I just said, presented by the bracketology over on our website, Views from Section 400. Without further ado, Brian, who is your Michael of the Week? What is your Michael of the Week?
So Jimmy Graham is going to row around the Arctic Ocean nonstop with 3 team members in 2025, which is just wild. I mean, this guy just retired from the NFL, and he's about to just let me read you guys this headline. The team will row in 2-hour shifts for all 24 hours in the day, and each member will be sleeping in 90-minute intervals at a maximum. The expedition will force the athletes to burn around 8,000 calories each day. And given the location on the globe and time of year, they will experience 24 hours of sunlight each day of the trip. It's going to be Jimmy Graham, 2 former Team USA rowers, and a Navy SEAL. Just rowing around the Arctic Ocean nonstop. It's going to take them like a year.
Those are 4 psychos right there.
Apparently, Jimmy Graham, he wants to eventually fly around the world too, because he got his pilot's license because he watched Top Gun and loved it. So this guy's just a ridiculous human being.
One too many to the head.
But I mean, what a lineup.
Is there? I don't know if I missed you saying it, but what was like the agenda or narrative behind this? So did you say it was for charity?
Yep, they are just rowing around the Arctic Ocean, circumnavigating the whole Arctic Ocean for charity.
It's for charity.
Okay.
All right. Shout out these 4 psychopaths, man. That's what's up.
I'm more like
but for charity, it's all good.
You think of the 3 other guys, like 2 Olympic athletes that are rowers, and then a Navy SEAL. They're gonna be psychopaths, like when it comes to just endurance stuff. But then you have Jimmy Graham, and I mean, football is not exactly like an endurance sport.
He's a big dude. How big is that little boat that they're going to be rowing
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's not really built for rowing.
Oh, man.
Hey, it's for charity, though, so nobody really cares, right? You could always do something ridiculous and add in, hey, it's for charity. And people are like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to go jump off a bridge. I have a chance of dying, but I might survive. It's for charity, though. Oh, all right. Congrats, man. Nice.
Shout out that.
Shout out to that. But Jack, what are you doing, dude? Hopefully not jumping off a bridge.
Not jumping off a bridge, but Justin Fields looked like he might be. So my Michael of the week is going to be the fact that Justin Fields goes to unfollow everybody on the Bears and the Bears organization, the team on his social media, started following Falcons accounts. But then anyway, he went on the St. Brown Brothers podcast. Amon Ra and Equanimous St. Brown. He went on their podcast and said, and I quote, just because you don't follow the girl on IG, don't mean you not messing with her.
Huh.
Meaning
What?
he's still messing with the Bears. He still fucks with the Bears. He went and unfollowed them and started following Falcons players. It just very confusing. But I love that quote. But after he said that, he starts looking all nervous, and honestly, he looked like he was in pain, like how much anxiety he had. And he just said, "Oh my God, man, I can't wait till the draft is over. Like, I can't wait for this to be over." He looks like he's waiting to be drafted himself. That's how nervous he is, just waiting on this Caleb Williams news, what's going to happen there. I love that quote. Had to share it with you guys. This whole situation, just very confusing and surprising. So it earned my Michael of the week.
Well, yeah, I mean, Justin Fields, he said he wants to stay with the Bears, but then he also said he understands it's a business. But then and for all the NFL guys and really across major sports, like, why do they get so dramatic and turn into these little like baby crybaby like wussies, to be honest with you, or like unfollowing and delete their whole page and have no pictures, and like it's just, dude, it's like, how are you fucking soft, dude? Like stop being a little bitch. You don't have to unfollow people. Like really, dude. Like that's what we've come to, is we unfollow people, and we like. So, I don't know, man. I think it's a little pathetic. It makes you look like a bitch. He's unfollowing everybody, but then he's like, "Hey, I want to be here, but I understand it's a business." Then runs off and starts getting the Twitter fingers going and unfollowing everybody. It's just stupid, man. And then the media makes a big hype about it. So I think it's a little. It's such a joke.
Well,
I brought it up for the quote, but you're right. He's the one who's saying, I don't want to make a big deal out of this. I can't wait till it's all over. But then you're going
Exactly.
and you're making it a big deal because you start doing all this unfollowing.
Right.
Leave it alone.
It's
just put
just
everything on mute.
It's just the head of what's been a toxic relationship. It's like just any relationship in life. It's just the Bears have treated him poorly. He hasn't exactly given the Bears as much as I guess he would like. So now it's just coming to a head where he's afraid to get replaced by the new girl or the new guy. And
yeah, and I more was just saying for these athletes in general, when they go run to their phone and unfollow people or teams or whatever because of whatever's going on. I think it's a bitch move. And that's my opinion on it. I think it's a little bit of a bitch move to run and start unfollowing people. Be a man. Be a man. Like, you don't have to do these like little back end things to point heads. And the worst is when they get called out for it and asked about it, and they come up with some like bullshit excuse. Like AJ Brown, for example, right? Like he took everything off his IG page, and I forget what his reasoning was, but it was like he had some bull. Do you guys remember that happening? Do you remember what his reasoning was? Yeah, what was his? He had some like reason where it was just like totally irrelevant. He was like, "Oh, like I just did that because of this and this," and it's just like, dude, like. You just look soft. Like be a man. Don't run to social media and unfollow people. You look like a little girl. Ryan, you seem like you disagree. You probably unfollow a lot of people.
I just think there's not many ways they can go about like making a point without either getting fined or making it look worse.
You can make a public statement without getting fined.
Yeah, but
you
if you're
have
not
people in
fined,
your corner. You have people in your corner who can advise you on what to say.
Yeah, you should have a publicist. That's for damn sure.
You don't have to be like completely silent if you want to voice your opinion. And like Jack just said, you should have some kind of publicist who can advise you on what to say. You don't have to run to social media and start unfollowing people and then not man up about it. Then turn it into running whatever. I could go on for days. I'm glad you brought it up, Jack, because that irritates me when I see these guys unfollowing people. I know Brian clearly has a different Brian loves it. Brian loves to see
I
people
just
running around and following people.
I think they're in a bad spot in these kinds of situations. I mean, AJ Brown when he's that's different, but like Fields right now, he can't he can't go like if he throws the Bears under the bus, any team that wants him is going to be like, well, he threw the Bears under the bus. So there's not much he can do, is what I'm trying to
But
say.
any team also will see what he's going through.
Yeah, I mean
Like it's not like he just is lashing out because oh my like God, he's lashing out.
Yeah, but like I don't know, like they're
look, his
it's a
fate is
it's
not in his hands right now. All he can do at this point is wait for draft day. He knows that
yeah,
If
that's what I'm
anything,
saying.
if anything, he looks worse running and unfollowing the Bears and following other
exactly.
teams. Like
Just
what?
just be patient, wait until that decision is made. If they go and draft him, they're gonna trade you. You're gonna have other opportunity. It looks like the Falcons, all signs are pointing there, but nothing confirmed, obviously. And again, they might still keep him. To your point earlier, Brian, it has been a toxic relationship from the start. They should cut that shit out, really. Just move on, start anew. I think everybody would be happier, but yeah, I could go on and on about this with you, Matt. This is just a dumb move. Just wait till the draft,
Yeah.
wait till shit actually happens, and then start on following and refollowing your new team and whatever. Like,
I just this you don't need to run social media. Be a man. Be a man.
I
Don't
just
run
don't
the
see
social
any advantageous reason to do this.
right. Anyway, I'll get into the Michael because clearly we could go on about this for a little while. I guess I kind of have two. One's just like ridiculous. Marshawn Lynch reaching a plea deal on a 2022 DUI this week. Thought that was just random and ridiculous. That's kind of what the Michael is, though. No,
Yep.
Yeah.
so thought that was slightly ridiculous. Just randomly, Marshawn Lynch reaches a plea deal on a 2022 DUI. So Marshawn, I know you're usually smoking pot, dude, but maybe let's lay off the liquor here, dude. And I know it was a while ago, but pretty ridiculous that he finally reached a plea deal from a 2022 DUI. Let's remember that's 2 years ago.
That's illegal.
Finally gets a plea deal there, but I don't know. Did you guys have any reaction to that?
I'm just thinking of the clip of him at Cal on the golf cart during the game where he's running around with full pads.
I'm
Maybe he
thinking
was
about
drunk.
how he's talking about how he always used to take a shot and a half of Henny before every game. Some of that
Well,
Henny.
clearly it finally caught off to him because he got the DUI and settled it 2 years later, which is a little odd, I feel like. But I don't know. The legal system always takes a while.
He got inspired from Pat Mahomes, I guess.
Yeah, he clearly did. But the other one I wanted to jump into, I guess speaking of Pat Mahomes, and it's interesting because Antonio Pierce flat out came out and said that the Raiders have Mahomes rules for when they play Mahomes. So special rules, maybe they only key on a spy or they only spy. I don't know what the rules are, but it's an interesting concept. Do we think other teams around the league have special rules for when they play Mahomes?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's what you do for any player, though. I mean, Lamar Jackson, you got to have a special plan for. Josh Allen, you got to have a special plan for. Tyreek Hill. I mean, the special guys, you got to have a special plan for.
I mean, this is the first time a head coach is publicly coming out and specifically saying Mahomes rules for a certain player. I mean, these other coaches don't come out and say, yeah, we do this for Tyree. I mean, this is like coming out and saying special Mahomes rules. I don't know. I think it's a little more amplified.
I mean, did he get into exactly what they do, or is he just saying,
He didn't. He didn't specify
we
what.
have
Well, he
special
can't.
rules
He
for
can't.
him?
He can't. He can't divulge the
Right,
the
of course,
rules.
of course. So, to me, it just sounds like, he's respecting Patrick Mahomes' games, saying that he's got a plan for when they play him, just like you do for Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald. Both sides of the ball, you got special players on both sides, and you got to make a plan for some of them. You can't let Justin Jefferson go for 200 yards and tear up your entire game. You're going to have to bracket him. You're going to have to put doubles on him. You can't let those guys, go off for huge games.
Well,
That's
so
just
here's
players.
a little more interesting as I look into it a little more. And if I'm a Chiefs fan, I don't know if I'm too excited to hear this, but he said so. I guess he didn't divulge what it is, but Antonio Pierce said the Raiders will be channeling the bad boy Detroit Pistons when they play Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, that's what I was gonna say. It just means that you're gonna hit him harder.
I mean, I don't see coaches coming out saying they're going to, be hurting Tyreek. He's essentially saying
because the
they're
last
going to
time that happened, it was the whole fucking bounty gate. So I don't know why.
That's essentially what he is inciting with that comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not far from it.
Not very fucking far from it.
I mean, we've already
put two and two together.
Yeah, we've already seen Max Crosby get under Mahomes' skin a bunch of times, where like hit him after the play and like
He's
give him
the
a little
perfect
shove.
candidate to channel that bad boy energy too.
Dude, that is awesome.
A wild quote.
Bad boy Pistons. Not even like like the Raiders were pretty bad back in the day. It could have been like the old Oakland Raiders, but he goes right to the bad boy Pistons. That's awesome. I guess you have the MJ comparison there. So yeah, good on Antonio Pierce.
I love that.
Said his team needs to hate the color red and showed them videos of famous boxing and MMA fights.
Okay, now that might raise some eyebrows.
Ridiculous.
That last part might raise some eyebrows.
Hate the color red and said they need to kind of market, and I'm paraphrasing here, but kind of just take the approach of when, those bad boy Piston teams played Michael Jordan. So interesting concept there. I don't know. I get it. Teams do channel their game when they play those special players like you mentioned, Jack. But, I mean, essentially inciting that they're going to be going after this guy and going after him hard. Do we think the league needs to maybe take a look at that? Does he need to walk back the comments? Is there a fine pending?
I don't think there's going to be a fine pending. Obviously what I was talking about with special players is not lining up to what he meant. He's talking, a whole nother level of let's get physical. And I don't think there's going to be a fine. I don't think he should have said that. He's essentially, alerting the league and the reps and the chiefs of the fact that, we're going to be coming after.
We're coming after this guy.
We're coming after him hard, which is just not something you want to, let people know. You want to do that in silent. That's what happened to the Saints, and we
see what happened there.
We saw what happened there, but Antonio Pierce, I think, can do what he's talking about without being Sean Payton Bountygate.
Yeah,
but still a little interesting thing to say about probably the best player in the NFL.
The MMA line is a little out of pocket. That was the one where I was like, well,
yeah. So I was paraphrasing a bit there, but it said that he was showing. He said his team needs to hate the color red and was showing them old MMA and boxing clips, and they need to channel their inner bad boy Pistons approach of how they played Michael Jordan. So didn't say he's going to hurt Patrick Mahomes, but I mean. This is a divisional matchup as well. They play twice a year. So, this is interesting stuff to think about as we try to come up with headlines here in the NFL offseason. But pretty big one, if you ask me. I think that's interesting to note. But speaking of what the Michael of the Week is sponsored by Bracketology, we will jump into a little bit of college basketball here, as I guess it's been relatively idle. UConn looks far and away the best team. It's not really close. I do know they got blown out by Creighton. Was a road Big East game. UConn won fucking 15 or whatever games in a row, so I'm not worried about it. But UConn does look very, very good. I know we gave out Kansas as a future. They did. We got them at plus 300. They dropped mightily to plus 1,500. Now they're back in that 2,500 to 2,800 range. So not looking the best for the Jayhawks, but we will remain hopeful. Yeah, I mean, I touched on it. UConn lost to Creighton. Big blowout. 20-point loss on the road. It's the Big East. Creighton's good. And if we look at that weird, hey, every team in the last X amount of years has been in the top 12 in the Week 6 AP poll. Oddly specific to Week 6. Creighton's in that grouping. So maybe Creighton a sneaky team to make a run. But yeah, I mean, Brian, is UConn still the far and away favorite here, or am I a little out of my mind for thinking that?
No, they are. It was when you think of UConn, especially recently. I guess besides the first couple of years Hurley got there, you think like they've been great. They're always there. And this is kind of wild. That was the 19th straight game they've lost to a ranked team on the road. So, I mean, I'm not really too worried about it just because they always do it. And they've still been very
Wait, that
good
was a 19th game in a row
that they've
they've
lost to a
ranked team on the road?
Yeah, it's pretty
Did they
unbelievable.
lose to Kansas earlier in the year on the road then? I guess they lost that game, huh?
Yeah, it might have been a neutral.
Yeah, that's a wild stat.
Yeah, I don't know. That is a
For
nuts
a team
stat.
that, for a
Oh
team
no,
that,
yeah, they did.
They did. Okay, so yeah, I guess it holds. That's a nuts stat.
Yeah, I was like, I read that and I was just, my mind was blown. It was almost my
And
Michael game, honestly.
as heavily, I think UConn is the outright heavily favorite to win this whole thing, but it's violently hard. I don't know if that's the right word I should be using, but it's extremely difficult to repeat March Madness. I mean, they won it all
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, it hasn't been
You
done
do
since,
not see repeat winners in the big dance.
yeah, not since Billy Donovan and Joakim Noah and Al Horford. People forget Al Horford was on that team.
Which is what, 15 years ago?
More, almost 20.
Yeah.
That's like
2006.
what, 07, 08, 06, 07?
It goes 05, 06 or
Um,
06, 07 then, yeah.
to that point, Matt, and to what you were talking about with the Kansas bet earlier, betting on March Madness, the team to win the tournament, it's tough, dude. I mean,
Nuts.
UConn is the favorite. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I'm not mad about our Kansas bet sitting at plus 3,000 when we got it. It's about value to me, at
Right.
least. When I'm betting on tournament winners, pre-tournament, it's all about the value. If I can get Kansas at plus 3,000, I'm happy. You're not going to be able to get UConn at any crazy odds from here on out. After this loss to Creighton, heads up, this is probably the best it's going to get. 20
Yeah.
loss because they are dogs and they are still going to be the favorites. I'd be shocked if the line even moves, honestly. But speaking of top dogs that lost, how about Purdue? Purdue goes down too. That's
Yeah.
two top three teams. Those two in Houston, I think everybody has in their top three. Some people have Arizona, whatever you might have. UNC, they're reeling. Never mind. But two top dogs went down this week.
Yeah, I was so mad at myself for not taking the 8.5 points with Ohio State because they just fired Chris Holtman. We always talk about the fired coach bump, and it was the first game with their new coach. And what do? They like end to end, they were beating Purdue. It got kind of close towards the end, but for the most part, they had that game in control the whole time.
Yeah, I had Ohio State money line in one of my parlays. I should have used them as one of the slimy dogs on Sunday instead of Evansville, and I would have went 3-0 on the slimy dog parlay or picks on Sunday that I handed out. But yeah, I mean, Brian, you took the words right out of my mouth, man. I was going to say they fired the coach. Every team always gets up a little bit more when they get the new coach in there. It's just what it is, whether they mean to do it or not. It's just what happens. And again, Purdue was on the road. I think Purdue are a bunch of frauds. We saw them get not blown out, but lose to Farley Dickinson last year. Purdue's the 1 seed. Farley Dickinson's 16 seed. We hadn't seen it for a while. I guess the last couple of years we saw a 16 team win, but yeah, I mean, I think Purdue are a bunch of frauds. But that's, to your point, Jack, really not going to move the UConn to win it all line because now Purdue also lost as well.
I mean, I will say Purdue has some guard play this year that they haven't had in the past. But then you think about that, and they had Jaden Ivey when they lost to St. Peter's. So, I can't ever trust them in March until they actually do.
I absolutely do not trust them one bit. Houston, big win, although a game they probably should have won, right? Because Iowa State beat them in Iowa, and I believe handed Houston their first loss of the team or first loss of the year at that time. So, the rematch, Houston wins. I'm not surprised there. I still think Iowa State's a wagon. They could be a team that makes a sneaky run, just based on how they're just so well filled out across the board.
Yeah, they're really good. They're really good.
They're just a really solid team. So not too crazy there. And how about the Wildcats? Villanova Wildcats beating the Butler Bulldogs. They still got a little bit of way to go to kind of get back in to the tournament conversation. I know they're right on the bubble. They got to have a strong Big East Conference tournament. Brian, is Nova in right now for you, or are they out?
Well, so they were in our last four in our bracketology, and I said if they beat Butler, they'll be safely in the field. If you go look at Joe Lenardi's fucking late ass, he's been late on our picks on the bubble for the past 3 weeks. So I'm sure he'll be late again, and he'll put them in as a last four out, and then they'll probably have a good Big East tournament, and they'll get in on his bracket. The selection committee is going to put them in as like a straight up 11 or straight up 10. That's going to happen.
Think so? They won't have to go to Dayton for a playing game.
They won't, just because Lenardi's a dickhead.
Well, the only question I have for Joe Lenardi, what did TCU ever do to you, man? Why do you keep violently underrating them?
And what happened in Utah? Why does he love Utah so much?
Like, what is going on? What does Utah have against him? And why is TCU not in safely? I mean, they're a good team. They're borderline nationally ranked, and they're like on the bubble. Sometimes when he releases them, they're first four out team. I don't understand why TCU gets no love from Joe Lenardi. Joe, when you're watching this, please feel free to elaborate on that.
And maybe he has like a deathly fear of frogs, and the horned frog logo gets him scared, so he doesn't want to see it when he puts them on. But we have him as a 6,
could be,
and he has him on.
We have him as a 6, and he has him barely in, essentially not making it.
It's ridiculous.
Brian, why don't you give him a call? Ask him why he hates on TCU.
I should. I could if I get him on the phone, he's not getting off the phone for like 2 hours because I can say a lot of things to that man. But
oh yeah, who do you like better for the college basketball dial up? Joe Lenardi or Andy Katz? I think I like Andy Katz, man.
I think I do like Andy Katz a little
bit. Katz is a big Nova guy as well. He always fucking hypes them up, so that's why I would lean Katz. But yeah, Lenardi, he's that know-it-all nerd.
He's been wrong the past 3 years.
He's been wrong. He's always so opinionated, rightfully so. That's what he is supposed to be. But yeah, the no love for TCU really doesn't make a lot of sense. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know if he had them in, but what about South Florida?
Yeah,
South
13.
Florida. No, does he have a third? They've been lights out. They just beat. Did they beat Florida? Yeah, they beat FAU.
Yeah. They're going to be on that 10 or 9 line, not a 13.
I mean, they're playing lights out. They're getting no love from Joe.
He's
South Florida, Chris Youngblood. I mean, with that name, they're going to do something crazy.
It is a great name.
It's those, what is it, Chattanooga? The Chattanooga transfers?
No, it's the Kennesaw State guys.
Kennesaw.
So it's I think a couple Kennesaw State guys with Chris Youngblood being the main guy.
Him and 2 others, yeah.
And the South Florida head coach was the Kennesaw State. So it's that little ring right there who almost knocked off, by the way, almost beat Xavier last year as a 14 seed. Got robbed. I mean, they choked that out. I mean, they should have won that game. If you remember that game from last year, they should have won that game.
Yeah, they lost by 1, and they were up. Yeah.
Keep your eye on South Florida. I don't think they're done yet. Chris Youngblood, clearly some unfinished business after last year, stumbling out of the tournament. And I know I'll call myself out on for this. I said Florida Atlantic is going to storm through and run through the American. Watch out for the South Florida Bulls because they got something else to say. And, Charlotte isn't the worst team in the world either. They're a tough team as well. So look out for them. And Memphis is a bunch of frauds, right?
Memphis,
we can agree they're frauds. They're just frauds.
We finally dropped them off the bubble.
We kept leaving them in. We were delusional, like Joe Lenardi is about TCU. We were delusional about Memphis. They just time and time again they're not able to get it done. I don't see them making the tournament. Just too inconsistent.
What is it? Quinterly? Is that his name?
Quinterly's
he's not even on Memphis anymore.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
He transferred somewhere else.
He was on Alabama.
Yeah, and then he transferred to Memphis, and then he transferred again.
Did he?
I saw him playing a few days ago.
So.
Yeah,
really?
bro. He's definitely on Memphis.
I think I saw him playing a few nights ago, Brian.
Okay,
I'm I'd almost say I'm 100% confident.
Yeah, he is on Memphis.
But,
yeah, I was like,
I could have sworn he transferred again, but maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
You're probably thinking of somebody else, but Javon Quinterly's like the main guy down there. Dude, I just remember when they got Penny Hardaway and they got all these crazy transfers. I know was Amani Bates there, and then he actually ended up transferring out and then went to the league. Who was the other big? Was it Jalen Duren was on Memphis? James Wiseman. Wasn't there another guy? Where did Jalen Duren
might have had
play?
Duren too. That sounds.
I thought they did. I don't know though. I don't know.
That
But either
sounds
way, I feel like they were like super hyped up and they just never really turned it into anything.
yeah. I think it's clear Penny is a good recruiter, but he's not a good basketball coach.
Right. Maybe have him as the head of recruiting
Yeah,
behind
like
the scenes.
give him a promotion and just like a recruiting director.
Yeah. And hire more of a basketball guy. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But let's not forget Arkansas beating Texas A&M. I guess it was last week or on Saturday. Arkansas was like a plus 900 or plus. They might even been like plus 1,000 on the money line. They were 11-point underdogs. They went into College Station and won outright.
Yeah, they swept Texas A&M this year, 2-0 against them. And
Is Buzz Williams still the head coach at A&M?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
two of the three Arkansas wins are against A&M this year.
Yeah.
Why? Arkansas only has 3 SEC wins?
Yeah, they're horrible. They're 3-9 in the SEC.
Wow.
I was gonna say, sometimes that's just the way it is. Sometimes you just don't match up well against another team. We've seen it before. We'll see it
Great
again.
point. That's a great point. Sometimes you don't. That's why we see these weird lines that we're like, oh, that's a weird line. No way. And it's like, well, the line was actually right because the matchup wasn't there. But anything else on the college basketball front? I know we are like really getting close to when all of America. It's crazy. Nobody cares about college basketball besides like the hardcore nerds like myself. And I think like Brian, I'm a little more in the mid major, so I would consider myself more nerdy on that front. You guys have Auburn and the SEC, so but it's crazy how it goes from like really no one's really locked into all of America is tuned into March Madness. It's wild how the switch flips like that, right? Because the NFL has the buzz all year, then everybody locks in the Super Bowl. I'm trying to think of another big event that is kind of similar to that. But March Madness, I mean, is it the only event where like no one is really that locked in during the year, and then March Madness hit, and it's like a flip of the switch, and everyone in America is talking about it. Everybody's got a bracket, and everybody's dialed in. I mean, am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, well, it's definitely bigger than everything except for the Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
I just find it wild how that switch flips.
Number one day for vasectomies in the United States is the first day of March Madness. So
What?
you could just ice your balls in the recliner while you watch a full day of basketball.
Dude, that's fucking
It's a
hilarious.
true
Yeah,
fact.
that's wild.
Yo, men are too smart.
They really are.
I do have one other thing about college basketball before we move on. Virginia had its worst loss since 2013. So
They lost by like 40 points.
Yeah, we were praising them all year. They went on like a 9-game win streak, and then they just had their worst loss. Again, Tony Bennett doesn't know who is going to shoot the ball. He's just
How embarrassing is that? That was interstate rival. Didn't they lose to Virginia Tech?
Yeah, they lost to Tech by like 40 points.
That's horrible.
Hell yeah.
I mean, what a rivalry game. That's like Auburn losing to Alabama by 40 points.
Yep. You can't
just to paint that picture in your guys' head to really feel how fucking embarrassing of a loss that is.
Well, they also lost to JMU, last year, 2 years ago? So Virginia's had some bad losses lately.
Yeah. JMU obviously in the state of Virginia, but not on that. Well, I guess they're better.
Virginia
now,
Tech.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
But either way, Virginia, I mean, that's like a ridiculously bad loss. And to your point, Brian, we were praising the shit out of them.
Yeah, and their offense is just horrible.
Brian, don't ever let me hear that you're praising this Virginia team.
They're really they're frauds.
He's mad about the Final Four.
I still got beef with Virginia. Fuck you, Kyle Guy.
Wow, Kyle Guy. What a
Ty
name.
Jerome did double dribble.
Ty Jerome, Kyle Guy. Who else? Do they have anybody else on that team? I don't know. It's clearly not important.
What's his fucking name? DeAndre Hunter? No, that was after No, that was DeAndre Hunter.
Was that a DeAndre Hunter year?
Yeah.
Is he still a top 25 player in the NBA, Brian?
No.
No.
The YMCA patch bump, I almost gave it to him, but not quite.
Just making sure you're off your high horse when you were extremely opinionated in that debate.
Well, dude, like they lost to a 16 seed when he was hurt, and then he comes back and they win it all. Like, it's a great player.
Yeah. Well, not great enough to be a top 25 player in the NBA as you predicted. And I'll give it to you. You stayed on that train for quite a while and it didn't pan out. But yeah, like I was saying, college basketball, we're dialing it up. I know I keep saying it, but head over to the website, views from section 400, bracketology. We dial it up every Monday. Mondays are boring. There's nothing going on a Monday afternoon. Go check out the bracketology, get the advice, get the insight, anything you need. I'm telling you, you'll win some money. You call me crazy. You're going to get some good insight. You're going to win some money in your pools. I know some people, 100, 200, 300 person pools, some big money you could probably be making. Might as well get some good insight instead of picking blindly. All right, yeah. I mean, moving on to the NHL here, right? I mean, we're dialing up. We're a month and a half away from the playoffs starting. It's when everybody really starts dialing it in. We did have the Stadium Series over last week, and unfortunately, the Flyers weren't able to get the job done. Still ahead of the Devils in the standings. So all you Jersey Devil fans can relax. You atheists.
Atheists or Satanists or both?
Either way, both. Anyway, I've been seeing a lot of Devils chatter on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's like calm down. We're still 5 points ahead of you. More wins. Your guys' goal difference on the year is -6. So I don't want to hear it from the Devil fans. Satanists, I guess, would have been the word. But either way, I think atheists works a lot. There's some devil worshippers who are atheists. So yeah, what a horrible team you'd have to root for, man. Hey, I'm a Devils fan. I root for the devil. Like, what are you, fucking weird? You fucking weirdo?
Look, I'm not gonna sit here and let you trash my jersey.
Oh, I forgot your jersey.
I'm not letting you trash my jersey, dude. Yo, I'm born and raised in New Jersey. You know, even though the Jets and the Giants play in New Jersey, they get the New York title. So a lot of pride in my Jersey teams. And the Devils, you know, they actually will represent the New Jersey Devils. So I gotta give them love, man.
Are you a Devils guy? Like, are you a New Jersey Devils fan? Like, grew up as a fan, or just not really?
Look, I grew up going to some hockey games, and it was always Devils, not Rangers, not Islanders. So yeah, if you're gonna tie me to an allegiance, it's gonna be the Devils. I also spent some time living in Florida. Went to a couple Panthers games, electric atmosphere. So I like the Panthers as well. But if I'm tying myself to one team, it's the Jersey Devils.
Well, I'll walk that back a little bit. My bad, Jack. I didn't mean to throw your team under the bus like that. But everyone who's a Devils fan besides Jack, go to church. Anyway, moving on for some more. Like I said, the Rangers still on top of the Metropolitan Division, and the Panthers, to Jack's point, on top of the Atlantic Division, head of the Bruins, who, if we remember last year, the Bruins were the best team in the league and lost in the first round. So I don't know if we'll see that again, but that just shows you how wide open the NHL is, including come playoff time. But over in the Western Conference, the Stars still are electric. The Avalanche are electric. I still, if I'd had to give out a pick who's going to win it all, I got the Avalanche. They're just lights out and just playing really good hockey. The Winnipeg Jets, out of nowhere, are playing good hockey. They've been competent over the years, but really setting the bar high this year, keeping pace with the Avalanche, which is nice to see. I don't know if they're a team that gets it done in the playoffs, though. Probably won't be able to keep it going. I could see them choking out. And another shock, another team who, if I'm not mistaken here, yeah, looks like it. The Vancouver Canucks are leading the NHL in points this year. 80 points, the next highest team, 76. So 80 points from the Canucks. They are pacing the Pacific Division 10 points ahead of the Vegas Golden Knights, who are usually a very solid favorite come playoff time for the NHL. So without jumping too crazy into the NHL topics, do you guys want to maybe throw out what do you got, Brian?
The Canucks they beat the Wild the other day. They were the first team that was the first game that had 3 hat tricks in it since 1992.
Wild.
So
that's crazy.
Was that a pun?
3 separate hat tricks?
Yeah, three separate hat tricks, 2 for the Canucks, 1 for the Wild. First since 1992. I think Wayne Gretzky's Oilers did it twice, and then there was another team that like way back in the day.
Dude,
That did it.
that's lit. I'm gonna go watch that game highlight.
Yeah,
Imagine
10-7
betting
final.
those three guys to have a fucking hat trick. That's got to be
10-7
one,
final
one
score.
to win a million.
Yeah,
That would
one
have been
to one.
insane.
$1 to win a million.
Also, speaking of hat tricks, Austin Matthews, I know you were talking about him the other day. This guy's on pace for 74 goals. That'd be the most in the last 30 years.
Yeah, he is lights out. I was talking to some of my buddies, and I was like, I feel like I haven't heard much of Austin Matthews. Like, is he like really like awesome, amazing hockey player, or is he a bit overrated? Proceeded that night to drop a hat trick on the Flyers. So shut me up real quick and proceeded to score the hat trick. Fortunately, Flyers came back, got the overtime point, did lose in overtime, but they fought all the way back from 3-1 down, or maybe even 3-0. I forget on that, but they did end up getting the point. So when you're down like that and you fight back just to skate away with a point, there you go. I'll take that all day. So not the end of the world there. The Flyers still doing well in the Metropolitan, as I said. So are you guys confident to give out an NHL future? Or do you guys need a week to think about it? I hate to put you on the spot to make a big call like that. We can save it for either the next show or next week, but just want to see if you guys maybe had.
I'll give one out. I'll get
Let's
crazy
go,
with it.
Brian.
Speaking of Austin Matthews, I know the Toronto Maple Leafs
They are not winning at all.
shit themselves in the
team.
playoffs for every year faster than I shit myself after getting some Tim Hortons coffee. But shout out George Strand, big Maple Leafs fan. He's going to be celebrating. He's going to be celebrating this year. Toronto Maple Leafs winning it all. Let's get one for the six.
No shot.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait a little bit on my pick. I haven't been locked into hockey yet, so let me
your Devils. No
let me
faith in your Devils?
let me get in the lab. Let me give a competent pick. I'm not gonna go straight off of my nuts and give you the Devils. So I'll get in the lab, do some review, some film work, and I'll come back to you on the next pod with my pick.
Flyers Avalanche Stanley Cup Final. Flyers winning 7. That would be electric. Now, competent pick. I think the Avalanche are just so good. But obviously, I'm rooting for the Flyers. I'm a Flyers guy. Flyers have been a wagon this year. Really turned some heads. I mean, they were supposed to be a 20 to 25 win team. They've already surpassed their win total from last year. And there's 25 games left or something like that. Yeah, props to them. Look at Johnny Torts doing a good job and still not answering questions from the reporter who stirred up all that beef. Every time the guy asks a question, he literally points at him and says, I'm not answering any of your questions, and jumps to the next reporter. So if you haven't seen any of those clips, they're out there. That's all I really want to spend on the NHL, unless you guys have anything else you really want to dive into. I know everybody's just itching to dial up some NHL conversation here, but it's good to touch on as we get closer to the playoffs. And we'll wait for Jack's highly researched NHL future pick on the next pod. Now there's a lot of pressure on Jack since you're taking the time to do some research. So best of luck to you, brother. Let's jump into the MLB, dude, because that's where Brian's a little more well-versed, obviously, with the Mets hat on. I'm a huge MLB guy. Jack, I don't know your MLB sense, fandom.
Big
Are
Pudge
you
Rodriguez guy.
Big
No,
Pudge
you're right.
Rodriguez?
Big catcher. I support catchers more than any other position on the field. That's for damn sure.
Well, there you go. Obviously, I'm a Phillies fan. Brian, Mets fan. Jack, do you claim the Yankees or do you claim
No.
the Tampa Bay Rays? Do you claim the Braves?
Honestly, I claim two teams when it comes to MLB. I grew up a Red Sox fan. Shout out Boston. Just had to go against all of my friends who grew up Yankee fans. I just was that kid.
Good stuff.
Always had to have some banner involved. So I grew up a Red Sox fan. And then when I was about, 10, 12 years old, I found out I got a cousin that works for the Washington Nationals in the player development system. Actually got a ring when they won it back in 2020. Was that when it was?
19, 18.
2019, I thought. I don't know.
The Capitals were 19. I don't think they won. The City got
So maybe
two.
it's one.
Anyway,
Nah, because 20. Yeah, either way, it doesn't matter.
The Nats won it, within the past
Stupid ass World Series.
7 years. So when
Mickey
he got
Mouse.
that big, what happened?
Sorry, I just really hate that they won a World Series.
What, the Nats?
For the Mets.
Yeah, that it was so undeserving. They sucked.
They were not a good team. They were not a good team.
Soto, Max Scherzer.
They shouldn't have even made it out of the wild card round. They got so lucky and came back.
Yeah, the fucking right fielder.
Was it against the
Brewers.
Cardinals? Or
was
the Brewers? I thought it was the Giants.
Went under his glove, and then they scored
Yeah.
3 runs. It was fuck that year.
What did they? And they had the baby shark going with the 5-foot Spanish guy.
Gerardo Parra.
Yeah.
Oh.
That whole thing was just so annoying. But dude, I mean, look at it. They had Juan Soto. Their pitching was lights out, or at least in the playoffs. And they had Anthony Rendon when he actually was a competent baseball player. Yeah, now the guy's making ridiculous comments out in Anaheim. Clearly doesn't care. Clearly doesn't want to be there. Clearly doesn't care about it. I mean, basically said, I don't know. Brian, do you want to dissect what he said? Because it basically sounded like he doesn't care about playing baseball anymore. He's already gotten the big bucks in terms of getting paid. He's already won a ring. What more drive or motive does he have?
I mean, I'm trying to be careful about not shitting on some players too much, but he's a bum. He got paid and he just decided to quit. He doesn't care about rehabbing. Every time he gets hurt, he just decides to sit out the whole year. He could sprain his wrist, and he's like, "I'm not going to rehab. I'm done." He got fully guaranteed money. He's just a bum. He doesn't care. He could I don't know. It's not even shit on him for being a baseball player. It's he could be. It's just his personality. He just got paid, and he just decided not to work.
Well, he got paid and he also won the ring, right? So, like I just said, there's no drive left. How? I mean, I guess I can't.
He even cares he has a ring. I think it's all about the guaranteed contract.
I guess. Well, there's still a decent amount of years left on that, no?
Yeah, and if he cared about winning, you'd think he'd want to play a little bit, maybe try to get a second ring. But
he doesn't care.
It's fucking
He's
ridiculous.
Living in Southern California. He's getting paid a lot of money to do it, and like you said, he'll sprain his wrist and sits out 45 games, comes back for 3 games, rolls his ankle, and then he's out for another 60. So
just a fucking joke. A guy like that gets a ring, and David Wright gets spinal stenosis, works his ass off for 2 years to get back on the field, and then he can't get a ring. Life's not fair. Yeah, man. It's fucking bullshit.
Life's not fair, man. It just shows you that it's really not fair. But yeah, let's jump into more. I know we got a little sidetracked there with some Anthony Rendon talk, but he wasn't in the news this week. He was in the news with the interview. Not a great interview, but clearly he doesn't care. Let's look at Jordan Yamamoto, right? I mean, the Dodgers are probably going to be lights out this year, and by lights out, they're going to be fucking annoying. I think I can speak for a lot of people that other than actual Dodger fans, nobody likes the Dodgers. I mean, I don't know. How do you guys feel on that? I fucking really do not like I hate the Braves, I hate the Dodgers, and I hate the Mets. And I don't hate the Yankees. I hate the Yankee fans.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I've never been a fan of the Dodgers, their organization. They turned into the new Yankees, buying up all their players, all the best players in the league. They did
and backloading the contracts. I mean, it's just nuts.
No, I mean they got Shohei. I mean, that in and of itself is
Shohei for $2 billion a year. It's fucking insane to think about.
Yeah, that in and of itself is a game changer. I'll tell you right now, the only thing about the Dodgers organization I like is Mookie Betts. I've always liked Mookie Betts, been a big fan ever since he was on the Sox, but I can't be cheering for him to win another ring. Definitely not with that cast that he has there. I'm always an underdog guy, and they've really fucking stacked their roster. It's just not fair. On paper, it looks not fair.
Yeah, their jerseys are pretty fire too. I will say that about them. But
what, the white and blue?
Yeah.
Did I not say? I said Shohei Ohtani is going to look ridiculously good in that, and I got laughed at. And here's Brian jerking off the fucking jerseys.
Well, because you were specifically tying it to Shohei Ohtani. I'm just saying the jerseys are fun.
Because he already does look fucking sick.
Yeah, that's true. But the reason I wanted to bring up Yamamoto, the Phillies apparently offered him the most money out of any team, and he still went over
$125 million. I don't blame the guy for not wanting to go to Philly, but
You said it.
You said it, not us.
I mean, I live here, work in Center City. I don't blame the guy for not wanting to go there. The winters here, I went out to my car this morning, 16 degrees. Would you rather do that, or would you rather be in LA where it's not that? I mean, I don't blame the guy. And also, LA, very short flight back to Japan. Philly, probably have to land. Actually, you don't have to land and refuel. You could probably make that in one shot, but still, I don't blame the guy for not wanting to go to Philly. Feel free to trash on it. I don't care.
I mean, when you say it like that, it makes sense. But I don't know. I blame him for not coming to New York. I'll tell you that.
I mean, why? I mean, I get it. New York's like, concrete jungle, a little bit more hyped up, but like New York's a fucking shithole too, dude.
You got Hoboken over there. Hoboken's kind of nice.
That's New Jersey.
Yeah, but close enough. You can commute.
Either way, dude. I don't blame the guy for wanting to be in LA. And Otani's there, right? Why would you not want to go play with your Japanese counterpart, so to speak?
Do they still have that right fielder who's like who's
I know exactly who you're thinking of.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Puig is in like some Dominican.
No, not Yasiel Puig. No. I'm talking about, and maybe he was never on just a blue team. I'm seeing the blue jersey, but the banana and the monkey guy. You know who I'm talking about?
What?
Like he got interviewed. He was like, "Why do you
be careful with your next couple words that come out of your mouth?"
He got interviewed while eating a banana, and the interviewer goes like, "Why are you always eating banana?"
I'm like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Monkey eat banana, never cramp.
He was on the Blue Jays. I forget what his name was.
Blue Jays.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it was another like Japanese.
The super happy guy. The super happy.
Exactly. I didn't know if he was on the
I
same
know who
team.
you're talking about. Nah, it was a Blue Jays guy.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about now. No, it wasn't that. But I did want to say, Jack, I know you were touching on Mookie Betts. Philly's president of baseball operations, Dave Dombrowski. I'm pretty sure he's the sole reason why Betts isn't with the Red Sox anymore.
Pretty much.
Because he gave out so much money that they didn't have anything left to re-sign Mookie Betts, which is why essentially they were forced to trade him and kind of got fleeced. I mean, the Red Sox have went on a downturn, and the Dodgers won the Mickey Mouse ring in 2020, so I guess Betts got a ring out of it and the Dodgers got out a ring of it. But I mean, I'm with Brian on that. I think Brian agrees with me. That was like a total fucking bullshit World Series ring.
Yeah, if you play 60 games in a season, it doesn't count.
No. I mean, the Marlins made the playoffs and upset the Braves, if we remember that.
The only championship that counts in that season is the NFL one, because they actually had to travel and they played. It was basically a normal season.
Yeah.
You're not going to give LeBron and the Lakers.
No, they played in Disney World.
That was
they played at Disney
Mickey
World.
Mouse. That's a definition of Mickey Mouse.
That was the OG Mickey Mouse. That's why it's called.
We might need to have a whole podcast and dissect the Mickey Mouse here in sports. I think that might be a good little feature.
I could get it done in 30 seconds. The NBA was a total joke. The MLB was a total joke. The NHL was kind of a joke, although they did play a couple. Right? They had like a weird thing going. I don't remember. It might have been a bubble, but they did play out some they didn't call them regular season games, but they were like seeding games that they played. Yeah, but it was like bullshit.
That's when TJ Warren dropped like 40 a game.
Exactly.
Didn't they exclude the Canadian teams, or is that not true?
I want to say they did.
Yeah, I feel like they did.
I remember the Blue Jays had to play in Dunedin.
Yeah, they had to play
and then they played in Buffalo. Dude, what a fucking wild year, man.
I remember watching a video on YouTube of Zach Hampel, like the foul ball guy, just sitting outside of Dunedin waiting for you to catch home runs because he couldn't go into the stadium. Like, dude,
guy robs kids of fucking foul balls, dude. Shows up to fucking MLB games in like the MLB umpire baseball logo hat.
Dude, he's been kicked out of like multiple stadiums because he like trucks little kids. And then
he's a fucking grown man. Like trucking kids.
Probably on the spot.
Maybe.
Either way, like I said, MLB was Mickey Mouse, NFL legit, NBA. I mean, the definition, they did it in fucking Mickey Mouse's backyard. So that was Mickey Mouse. The NHL, borderline, but I would say I would give that legit because they did get like a full season in as well. I know the NBA kind of did too, but I don't know. The NBA one was just I didn't like the way they did that one.
I don't know. Yeah, I would just say anything but football that year. What a year though.
Either
Ugh.
either way, what were some of the major signings that we've missed from free agency? I mean, Blake Snell's still out there.
Yeah, there hasn't been any. They're still unsigned. This league
There's
is just
everybody still unsigned. Cody Bellinger still unsigned after having a fucking monster year last year.
he's an MVP. He's a former MVP, and the spring training games start tomorrow, and he's not on a
He
roster.
essentially had an MVP caliber year last year. No,
That
kind
might be a
of.
stretch, but he had an above
I
average
mean,
year.
it
He had an
was
all-star year.
he had an
Yeah.
all-star year. Maybe not an MVP, but he backed like close to 300, and the power numbers were up
Yeah.
substantially. So he had a great year. And then I guess what the other thing I want to get to, and I guess that might be your rant, Brian, but what the hell's going on with what's it, Kodai Senga? Already arm fatigue,
Yeah,
already
that's not what I had planned, but I did.
arm
Yeah.
fatigue. Frank
Well,
the Tank from Barstool already saying Yamamoto Tommy John surgery and said the Mets will lose 125 games this year.
yeah, that guy needs to fucking just die already.
Mets super fan, by the
But
way.
yeah, super fan is something you can call him. I think he's more of a super hater. But listen, you can be pessimistic because it's deserving, but he's unbearable. I understand he's funny to listen to, but I can't stand listening to that guy. But in terms of Senga, I think Jack had it right. Listen, so Port St. Lucie is a very boring place. The only thing about that town is the fact that the Mets play their spring training games there. Senga probably
Mets
got
baseball.
bored. He was watching some porn in the hotel. He was just wanking it a little too much, and now his arm's fatigued.
That is a wild assumption or fucking.
Probably accurate.
I think it's probably what happened. Listen, it's still
I
the
don't
beginning of
think that's
spring.
accurate at all.
He's their ace. Like he just had a little bit of arm fatigue, and he's like, I'm not feeling it today. And they have to report him to an injury because we saw what happened when the Falcons didn't report Bijan and they got fined. So they're like, well, we might as well just report an injury here, and he's gonna be fine. I'm not worried.
We will revisit this mid-April.
Oh yeah, that's a good transition into my rant. So the MLB season should be starting in April, but for some reason, Rob Manfred, the burn on the top of the league's mouth, is just he has moved opening day to the last week of March a couple years ago. I don't know when the change happened. But again, we have opening day on the first day of Sweet 16 March Madness. And there is a separate opening day in Korea a week before that happens to be on the first day of the first round of March Madness. So I don't know what is going through this guy's head. Thank God he's gone in 2029. But like, you see what happens every year on Christmas with the NBA getting tanked by the NFL. You see like your ratings are going down. So why in the fuck are you competing with March Madness, the number one day for vasectomies in the United States? You're like you should be your biggest day. It should be the World Series and it should be opening day. And you're losing it out to one of the biggest events because you're just too incompetent to push the season back.
Yeah, I fully agree. I didn't realize it was that bad, dude.
It's every year, every fucking year. It's
The
on the same day.
start of March Madness is opening day.
So it's the first day of the Sweet 16 this year. Last year it was the start of March Madness, but I mean they have the that Korea series that's the start of March
Yeah,
Madness.
what's that? Is that the Dodgers Padres or
Also makes no sense. It's a week before the rest of the games start. But yeah, Dodgers Padres. I guess you need them to like travel back, but like it's
probably
fucking
give them
nonsense,
time
dude.
to acclimate to the time zone difference?
Yeah, that's a fat plane ride for sure.
Rob Manfred's just a shithead, and he needs to be gone. He's a soggy pair of socks. He's a pizza burn on the league's mouth. He's the opposite of Batman. He needs to leave. I hate that guy.
I love how you said at least he's gone in 2029. Like that's right around the corner and not 5 years away.
They fucking re-signed him. He got a new contract, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna retire after this contract." Like, why?
Well, dude, to your international thing, and I'll try and keep it short because I know we're running a little bit late here, but I just want to touch on since you brought it up. Why are the American major sports appeasing to the rest of the world. We're going football overseas, football down in Brazil. We got baseball in Korea. Fucking, I don't know what else, but like, dude, let me get a Premier League soccer game in America. I know we finally got the World Cup, but let's get some of the European sports on display here in America. I guess the only real one I want to see is soccer, but I don't need to see an exhibition match of Arsenal playing the MLS All Stars in the middle of July. Bring Arsenal and Tottenham over here and play a Premier League game. We do it for the NFL. We send the teams over to Europe. Bring the teams over here and play a game. Why not? Why can't we do it? Why can't we get it?
I don't think any clubs is like, considering the amount of home field advantage they have there, I don't think they're gonna be willing to lose a home game where you have like
do it in the NFL, no problem, no questions asked.
Yeah, but like it's different over there.
I was gonna say, I think it's more because here in America, we care a lot more about expanding the game, getting more viewership, more money. And over there, they care more about the product and the culture and what that does for their cities. And,
which is interesting because Arsenal's owner is Stan Kroenke, who is American, and he owns the Rams.
Yeah, so, but like he's the people.
That kind of makes no sense in what you're trying to fucking say.
No,
the fans.
No, that doesn't matter. The fact is that he's not going to take them, even though he might own the Rams and a team in England. He's not going to.
And he's American.
It doesn't matter. He's not going to take the team out of England because of what Brian said, that home field advantage, for the actual product. The fans around there, they care a lot more. When you go to an NFL game, unless it's a big game, stadium's probably not filled. And on top of that, it's not all home fans, like, some of these soccer stadiums are, where literally every single person.
Well, they have to like separate the home fans and the away fans. They're not allowed to sit next to each other.
They do, yeah.
They do.
I think they care more about the product and the culture. I think in the U.S. we care a lot more about increasing money or viewership and opportunities for sponsorships, and at the end of the day, revenue.
All right, you guys don't want to see a Premier League game in America? That's fine.
That's not what I'm saying, brother. I love to see
get it.
I don't.
You can care less because they bring the Premier League. What is it? Or they call it the NBC Sports Fan Fest, where they have
Fan Fest.
Yeah, the Mount Cock Fair Fan Fest, and they pick a major city and have a Premier League weekend without a Premier League game in the city.
Oh yeah, no, they have started doing that. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
There you go. So they care enough to do that. And they did the exhibition where they brought Premier League teams. They just did it this past year for the first time ever. It was like Newcastle and Chelsea came to America and played an exhibition game against each other. They called it the Premier League Summer Series, but the games didn't count towards the standings. There's 38 Premier League games. You're telling me we can't get the first game of the year to count towards the table, to count towards the standings? August 15th to have that game in America on opening day and then go back to Europe?
Look, I bet you that's the future, right? I bet you that's the future. They're just not there yet. They don't need to be there yet. Dude, it's the most global sport.
I don't think they care. I think it's just they don't care.
I really
don't. They care enough to do the Premier League Summer Series. So,
well, yeah, but that's not real games. I don't think they want to have the real games in other places.
Well, there's 38 games and there's only 16 NFL games. So there's double the amount of games. We can afford to get one over here. They clearly have no issue throwing the NFL over in I know I'm right about this. Poll it on Twitter tomorrow and see what the people think.
What do you want me to ask?
What are you right about? Like,
I still don't know your argument here. Your exact argument.
My argument is we want Premier League games in America. Give me a Premier League game in America, since all the other major sports have no problem outsourcing regular season games that count to other countries.
We're arguing two different things then. So you're saying you want them. Me and Jack are saying they have no reason to bring it over. So why would they? Like, you can want them all you want, but they're just not going to do it.
I think they should.
They should, sure, for you, but
well, for a lot of other people too. But it would help grow the game, and like you said, it's a global sport. So appease to your global fans. The sport is more global and has more fans worldwide than the NFL teams do.
But we
You
also
know,
have the MLS over here.
yeah,
They don't have
You have the German football league, you have Norwegian football league, you have other leagues.
it's like an NFL byproduct though. It's like NFL Europe. So they're gonna go over there to promote NFL Europe.
All right. I'm ending this here.
moving on.
And after all that uninterrupted sports conversation, we dived into a lot. Hope you guys stuck around till the end because we obviously did. Make sure you check out the website, TikTok, Instagram, all the socials, like, comment, subscribe. Do what you got to do to help us out so we can keep putting out a good product for you guys to follow along to and watch and all that good stuff. Stay tuned for the merch that's on the rise and coming up soon. That's all I got. It's Matt, Jack, and Brian along for the ride. As always, views from Section 400. Go check out the website. Check out Bracketology. That's all I got. I will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Hang in there, Florida. Beat them.
Beat Bama.